Second round of moderator questions. We're going to start with Mr. Welch. This is question number 2, and it seems that all of you have already jumped into this question. So hopefully you can do some elaboration. Goes without saying that the need for jobs is the greatest need in our district. What should the state government do to create a more favorable business climate and to promote job creation? Mr. Welch, 3 minutes.
I think the state has already done some things to help create a favorable business climate. In 2011, they lowered the corporate tax rate. The corporate tax rate, for businesses, that lowers the taxes that they have to pay. We also just saw recently in October and November the discussion about the tax breaks that they're giving to certain companies like Sears, the CME downtown. Now, some people may necessarily be opposed to that. The problem you have when you have a company like Sears, if they were to leave, you would just flatten a lot of our communities. Sears is based in Hoffman Estates. A lot of those employees live right around here in this area. So I see the need for why you have to offer certain companies tax incentives like they did with Sears. But I would like to bring it more on a local approach right here in the 7th District and bring those jobs here specifically to the 7th District. And I think you have to do that with that type of model. You have businesses like Costco that came up in Melrose Park. That happened with tax incentives. That happened by the mayor of Melrose Park and his group going down to Springfield and working to get breaks. You need a representative who's going to work very closely with the mayor, so it's very important that you start out with a good relationship with those mayors and you understand what's going on in their communities. They could not have gotten that target development done without Mayor Tamborino having a good relationship with Representative Yarborough and going down to Springfield and getting the legislative changes that they needed to bring in a development like that target development. I'd like to see my friend Sherman Jones in Broadview be able to do something with that armory over there that's next to North Riverside. That's going to take some legislative help. I understand the vision for what's going on in Broadview. And if you understand that vision, and as his legislator, I can go down there and get some legislative changes done that can help Broadview expand over into that area and bring jobs to his community. Same thing with Mayor Pulley. There's so many things happening over here in Westchester that they have a referendum on the ballot. They may not need that referendum if there are some things that we can work with them and understand their issues going on in Springfield. It's all about working very closely with your local officials. Tax breaks are very important. They're not the end-all be-all, but they're very important. I like to also see us give these businesses some incentives to hire people who have been out of work. If you give them incentives, they're going to give you some jobs. Give them incentives to hire people who have been out of work for 6 months or longer. That's something. If they get that tax break, what they did wrong with Sears, before they passed that bill with Sears, they should have said, you can't close any stores in Illinois before you get that tax incentive. And you can take that approach locally. Before you get this tax break, you have to commit to hiring local employees. Thank you.
Second person to respond to the second question will be Mr. Hoskins. Would you like me to repeat the question? Yes, sir. 3 minutes.
I know a little something about this. I worked in the field for 10 years. There are a number of tools available at the state level to attract companies to Illinois. I'm going to quickly run through a few of them. First and foremost is the Illinois Enterprise Zone program. Now, an enterprise zone is a geographic area that's targeted for investment. Any company that builds an enterprise zone automatically receives certain sales tax credits. There's credits for jobs created, and there's an overall investment tax credit, but that's just a few. There are also credits for creating jobs and retaining jobs and the location. But I'll tell you something very basic about these kinds of programs and these agreements. Every project is project specific. So when someone says, well, we'll give Sears a tax break, but you can't close stores in Illinois, it doesn't work that way. You can't tell a big company like Sears that they can't close any stores in Illinois. What you do is you lay out the parameters of what you're trying to accomplish. And the incentives are awarded project by project. So Illinois has a lot of tools it can use, but what we can do, number one, is we can extend the life of the enterprise zone. When I worked in job creation for KPMG, every large company in the country knows about enterprise zones, but there's only about 100 or so in the state of Illinois. The 7th District has one in Maywood. Through the Proviso Area Economic Development Partnership, we would market the enterprise zone, but we would also market the other tools available at the county level, the property tax abatements, and at the municipal level. We could also encourage research in alternative fuels and renewable energies. Some of us are aware of coal gasification and ways to make what they call clean coal in Illinois. But the technologies are not proven. So one thing that our state could do is invest in research to develop these new technologies so that we can market clean coal. Now, this wouldn't be specific to the 7th District, but it could create jobs in Illinois if you locate some of the research projects in the 7th District. I think that we ought to think big as a district. We ought to think about long-term workforce development. I've been talking with several unions. I've toured some of their facilities. And in other districts, they've created union training centers. These are $30 million or so investments. I would like to see a union training center located right in the 7th District, possibly in Maywood, possibly in Bellwood, or possibly in some other community where we have a large pot of space. This would bring construction jobs, this would bring training, and it would enhance the opportunities for our school students in the 7th District. Thank you.
Ms. Miller, would you like me to repeat the question? Okay. You have 3 minutes.
There are 3 areas, I guess, that we can focus on for promoting job creation. One, I see that we can work with our different universities and our businesses to have the companies provide leadership training where they work with their colleges in creating the curriculum for students, that when the student comes out or graduates, that they have the skills necessary to easily transition into the jobs that are being offered by the companies, versus going out here and getting a degree in an area and then graduating and still not having the skills necessary to qualify for a given position. So I think if we have upfront the businesses working directly with the colleges and creating the curriculum, then the students will have the actual skills. And another thing that can be done is have a transition where students are working on an internship with businesses. So you get the training prior to actually coming out and joining the workforce as a full-time employee. Secondly, I feel that we can work with our businesses and see if there is an opportunity where we can share jobs. I have worked with IBM for quite some time now, and we have situations where 1 or 2 people will share a particular job assignment. So I think this helps in alleviating or creating a job for two people, whereas it would have been a full-time job for one person. Now we have a job sharing situation where we have a possible mother or whomever that works from home might be able to, say, work during the afternoon, whereas her counterpart that's sharing that job would work during the morning session. So just a couple of ideas that I would try and work toward as your state representative.